Welcome to the Next Dimension Podcast, your portal to an extended reality. Every week we talk about the hottest topics in XR and let you join the discussion live on MRTV. And now, get ready for another exciting episode coming up.
Hi, and welcome to Season 4, Episode 4 of the Next Dimension Podcast, your podcast that's all about VR and AR and XR and all the good stuff. Here with me is Ender from Ender's VRCade. Ender, how are you doing here?
I'm doing wonderful, Sebastian. Thank you so much for having me on.
This is your premiere on the Next Dimension Podcast, and I'm excited to talk with you about all the exciting stuff, that happened in the last, couple of months. This podcast has been away for quite a while, and I'm so excited to get back to this whole podcasting thing. Great. Very soon, Ender, we're going to talk more about you and introduce you to our listeners. So that's going to be exciting. Before we do that, I would like to quickly introduce this podcast to all the people out there who don't know yet what is the Next Dimension Podcast. So this podcast has been, a weekly show until a couple of months, and then we did a little break, but now hopefully we're going to get back regularly to you guys. So this podcast is all about VR and AR and XR and all the good stuff, all the nice things that extend our reality, because that is what we love to do. And this is now here live on MRTV, but this is also an audio podcast. So if you want to listen to this audio podcast while you're working or while you're doing other things like driving your car or whatever, you could do so. Simply find it everywhere where you can find audio podcasts. And if you love this show and if you're excited that this is back, please give it a 5-star review on iTunes, for example, or Spotify. So get out your iPad or your iPhone or your Apple Vision Pro, open the podcast app and find this show and give it a 5-star review. That would be absolutely incredible. Today, we are going to talk about all the new headsets that are coming up from PImax, because PImax had the PImax Frontier event, and they showed us the PImax Crystal Lite, the PImax Crystal Super, 2 versions of it, and there's simply lots to talk about it. Also, Meta has some crazy news, right? Meta is completely changing their strategy from that walled garden approach that they had until now, and they're more going to do the Android thing where other hardware companies simply can make their own devices and put their operating system onto their devices. Wow. That is cool, and that has quite some implications for our favorite industry, and that's going to be interesting. And we have some other topics, little things, and also we're going to talk with the chat. Hi, Technik Checker, Lone Tag, all the people here. Nice to have you. But now, Ender, so good to have you here on the show for the first time. So for all of the people who have not yet known about you and your channel, why don't you let us know when did you get, first of all, your VR journey? When did you get into VR, and how did that develop into the VR enthusiast that you are now?
Sure. So my VR journey started, like with many others, during the pandemic, when all of a sudden, in my case, I went from driving thousands of miles per year on the road and hotel to hotel to suddenly being stuck in my apartment by myself. And partly for sanity and partly for physical workouts, because remember back then your gyms were locked up and everything, I decided to pick up a Quest 1, and I got into 3 things. It was first thing I think Mateo 311 said to try.
Mateo 311.
Thank you. Was
Shout out
Space
to
Pirate.
him.
Yeah, indeed, because he, gave me the advice to try Space Pirate Trainer first for free, and I was immediately hooked with the depth perception. I'd never thought VR could be as good as it was.
It's 3D.
Right.
Unbelievable. It is 3D.
I'm not trapped in my tiny apartment. At least it feels that way. So that was great for just getting into it. And then I got into it for two other reasons, really. Or even three. Beat Saber for workouts, and I went down the rabbit hole of custom maps and all of that, so I could play that for hours and find something to get myself, at least my upper body, working. And then I'll go a little faster here because it's been, I guess, 4 years now of VR. So I started with Beat Saber custom maps. Then I also picked up, I would say, Elite Dangerous, because I'm a big sci-fi fan. So getting into simming. And
this is so good.
Yeah, and now I've even got some new joysticks for it, and see the evolution of that from Quest 1, which had great OLED blacks, but terrible screen door, and what's the menu say, and trying to type in your destinations.
But it was still cool. Right? The first real standalone headset, and then it had OLED, and it had like a really nice IPD adjustment, which the Quest 2 didn't have, right? It was a pretty cool headset in hindsight.
Yeah, I mean, Quest 2 is revolutionary. People talk about it all the time, and it's well-deserved. And I left mine. But don't forget about Quest 1 was the start for a lot of us. A lot of people don't talk about it anymore.
No, really. It was a cool headset, but it had a very short lifespan. Right? It just came out, and then suddenly there was Quest 2, and it was all better. It was not all better. It was not all better, but it was.
Mostly.
It was mostly better, yeah.
I mean, except for the loss of OLED and, like you said, the IPD adjustment, huge improvements. And so that and Pavlov, and so being able to, and big screen, and just so many things all at once during lockdown, and being able to socialize, being able to game with others, being able to watch movies with others, and all of that was just mind-blowing at once. And I guess the next big, then I started spending way too much money on new headsets. I got the Quest 2. I got the Reverb G2, which was inspired a lot by your recommendations of it. And wow, what a jump forward for Elite.
Thank you. I believe every single Reverb G2 owner watched my videos. I truly believe so, yeah.
Yeah,
anyway.
Because you had such great testing of it. Yeah. And it was great for again, Elite. And, I played... And I found, unlike a lot of others, that my focus in VR is immersion. I want to be in the game as much as possible, even if that means putting on my B haptics, strapping into my treadmill, putting on a Pro Evolver, doing all the calibrations and the mods, and maybe an hour later, I'm ready to play. Yeah. But it's not everyone. But that's kind of my take on VR, is I would want to be inside, feel like I'm in the game. When I was a kid, watching Super Nintendo and on the floor with the TV, the old CRT right in my face, I wanted to get close into that world as I can. And I guess that's the biggest thing that VR does for me, is it makes me feel I'm in the game worlds that I love.
It's so cool. It's so cool. I also love the immersion. It's truly, truly the best. And I love it that you're not afraid of these hurdles. Like most people, like the majority of people, it's too much for them even to power on their gaming PC, if they have one. That's already the biggest hurdle, right? But for people like you and also me, we don't care. We need to set it up so we can really dive into the game. And isn't it the most amazing thing to be in the game? Like, this is truly my childhood dream. And we found out before the show that we are actually the same age. Right, so we grew up with that Super Nintendo or Sega Master System and all the good stuff, right? And I loved it. I couldn't believe how amazing it was. And then when in the 90s, I heard about virtual reality, like I was way too young to afford it. It were huge things anyways. But that there's the concept that you can be in the computer game. Wow, that was my dream. And I'm truly, truly happy that it evolved into this commercially available thing that we now talk about, right? It's beautiful. It's like a dream come true. It's crazy.
Yeah, so immersion's the number one big thing for me. And now, that I can walk through worlds in the cat with, I need to get back into Fallout since that great TV show came out.
I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, it's maybe the one perfect video game adaptation I've ever seen. So
really?
If you haven't watched it, I mean, let me know in the chat. Let me know if you disagree, but I don't think I found anything that bothered me about that TV show. And I love to pick apart things.
Okay.
So that's my take on it. Definitely must watch the new Fallout. And back to VR. Yeah, being able to walk through that world and other VR worlds. I mean, for me, that's the greatest immersion possible. And that's what it's all about.
Right, right. Wow. So, what is your equipment that you're using right now for it? Like, what is your daily driver right now?
Yeah, so my daily driver right now, I guess I have two goes-tos. One, when I'm playing Quest exclusives, because
yeah,
that's kind of limits
good
what
point.
you can do.
Good point.
Right? And which we'll talk about. Hopefully, that's
We
maybe
will.
getting changed up. And then when I'm going full dive, if you know the expression from
I know.
animes and stuff, right?
I know.
So for the Quest 3, I'm using. Actually, I've got a Vive Deluxe audio strap that I've carried forward from my Quest 1. So I've gotten lots of great use out of that. And really cool thing I got recently is I got this oblique facial interface that's custom laser fit to your face. And I did a little review of that. Yeah. So you know, like how the iPhone or the Apple Vision Pro, it's got to scan your face for the same thing. So that is just this beautiful custom fit. And last night I played with a couple friends. If you're on here, Michelle and Philo, we played Dungeons of Eternity.
I heard good things about it.
It's fantastic. Great way to play through. It's procedurally generated, but you don't really notice it for the most part. Keeps it fresh, keep you going. And it's Quest exclusive, unfortunately, because I wish I could walk in that with my treadmill. So that brings me to my other setup, which is I do have a PImax Crystal, and I love it. I even am testing and almost done testing with the lighthouse tracking. And I play that with my treadmill, and I'll use that for when I really want great immersive experiences. Like, haven't done Fallout in a while. Into the Radius is probably my favorite because I'll get on the B-Haptics treadmill, put on my haptics vest, take out my mag tube, and have the Pro Tube thing going. So I'll get good and sweaty.
You really have everything.
Workout.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and I know that's not most people, and on my channel, I do focus more on the max immersion things, and I try to record and live whenever I can, because I want to share that putting myself in the game as much as I possibly can, even though it's extra work to film it that way. I think that's my passion, is trying to share that immersiveness with others.
So that's the next thing I wanted to talk about. So you also have a really cool YouTube channel where you show people this kind of full dive VR experiences. It's called Anders VRCade, just like it says on your very nice t-shirt. So I am going to put the link to your channel into the show notes, and I want everyone to go there right now and to subscribe to you, because you have this same passion. We share this crazy passion for this thing, and that's why we love to do YouTube. So please do subscribe to Anders VRCade. It is worth it, because I know you guys who are here right now, you are also enthusiasts, VR enthusiasts. So go to Ender and please subscribe to his channel. You can also put it into the chat right now, dear Ender, if you have the link. I'm not sure if you can do it. If not, then put it into the private chat that we have here. Here, let me write. Then I'm going to put it there.
Sure, I'll put it up.
If you cannot. Perfect. Yeah. And Daphne Snake says, just subscribe to Anders VRCade. Good.
Well, thank you. Always love hearing from new people, talking VR with. So, yeah, the more people who watch, the more people chat in the comments, and the more I can hear from other people, their opinions on VR as well.
Perfect. Technic Checker just says, you even cooked in XR? Well, I have never done that.
Yeah, I tried the Quest 3, and I
okay.
did a little cooking recipe, and there you go. I just put it in the YouTube chat there. I'll put it in this chat too.
Yeah, I can see it. Probably people can see it.
Okay, great.
I think it works. It works. Nice. Yeah. So absolutely go and click on that link right now, and absolutely subscribe to Anders VRCade, and also click on the bell button so that you don't miss anything. Yeah, it also works for other channels. Perfect.
I always forget about the notification bell because it's weird how YouTube works sometimes.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, so I'm super happy to have you here and to talk with you about VR. And yeah, who knows? Probably this is gonna get more regular if we both like it. I have a good feeling about it. So yeah, I also love the crystal actually, and well, I'm back in Germany right now. Yeah, normally I was in Taiwan the last month, which was great, other than the earthquake. But
Glad you made it back safely.
I've survived it. Great, very good. And I'm back now here at the MRTV headquarters. And 4090, finally, my 4090 was waiting here for me. I plugged in the crystal and I did some through the lens videos that I showed you guys yesterday, fun. And I also played some Star Wars Squadrons. Oh my goodness, is this good with the crystal? It is so good. I was blown away, truly. I want to get back to it. I will play it later more, just because it's so good. Have you also played this game?
Yeah, I played it a lot during the pandemic. I used to have a regular squadron of people I played with, which was great because then it is a strategy
it's
game,
a real
right?
squadron.
You've got to plan who's going for escort, who's going to bomb, and all that.
Right.
And actually, since I love it with the crystal, with the QLED blacks.
Yeah,
it's just fantastic.
Right, exactly.
And the other cool thing is I got some. I don't know if you know VKB. They make these a dual stick setup. So I've been using that for Elite and also
Adult stick?
Yeah, that's a hands-on stick and stick, so 2 sticks.
2 sticks, okay.
And I just did a review of it, and I'll probably stream with it tonight. So instead of a throttle and a stick for aiming, I use 2 sticks. And you can use 1 stick as a throttle, and that's great for squadrons where you're just going forward and backwards. But in an Elite, or like if people play Star Citizen, you're going left, right, forward, backwards, up, down. And you can't do that with a standard throttle. So what's nice is if you have 2 sticks and one of them's angled like a throttle, you can still move forward, backwards, up, down, left, right in things like Elite. Okay. So that was something I was saving for a long time. And here's the biggest thing for VR players. If you've played with a joystick, you know, the problem in VR is, where do I find my buttons, right? Because you can't see them. So the nice thing about these VKB sticks I got is you have 4 hat switches plus other buttons. So you can bind, what is it? I think up to 128 buttons now in Elite Dangerous for each stick if you have them. So you can feel all the features you need to without taking your hands off the stick when you're in VR and you can't see them. You've got all the buttons you could need. So a little bit of a side tangent there, but that's something I've been enjoying a lot recently too with my VR setup and squadrons.
Yeah, okay. Would it be correct if I would say that you and me are nerds?
Just a smidge. Yeah, hopefully we're not nerding out the channel too much and people aren't turning off.
No. This is the home of nerds. Yeah, this is exactly the right place to do that, right? I mean, this channel is not really about me doing videos. Oh, this is update 65 on the meta coming. Yeah, so this is more about we got that stick and we can like bind everything to it.
Good, because you know, well, most people always start to glaze over. But that's the nice thing about VR is you can hopefully find people to talk about this stuff with, right?
Yeah, exactly. This is the right place. So please, if you want to talk more about these 2 sticks where you can bind all the stuff, this is truly the place.
Great.
Yeah, right. Okay, cool, perfect. So yeah, now that we have talked about you. And people know me, so we don't need to talk about me. We can now get into the topics. Yes, and there's some really good topics for VR nerds. So let's get directly into the hot stuff with PImax. PImax, it's a company that sometimes we love them, sometimes we hate them, but in general, really, I'm personally glad that there is a company like PImax that still delivers us PCVR nerds the stuff that we want.
100% agree.
Right, like
goodness.
Yeah, exactly. Thank goodness there are not so many companies that do this crazy stuff. Right? It's really cool. So therefore, I'm glad that they're there.
Yeah, it's great, and we'll talk more about Quest as well and Meta, what they're doing. And it's great how much they've grown it, and I got into it with Meta.
Absolutely.
But for those super nerds like us who want to go and do all these mods and all these peripherals,
exactly,
there's still no substitution for PC VR, and PImax is I think, the solution for right now.
PImax is really, it's one of the main solutions.
One of the main.
I totally agree with you about Meta. You know what? I also applaud them for how they have pushed the whole thing forward. And I truly, truly love the Quest 3. I truly love it. It's great. It's really great. It can do so many things. It has now great exclusive games. It's light. It's great. It introduces mixed reality. So, you know, I really, really celebrate all these companies who are in VR and who are pushing it forward. Right? You know, like it's really it's a tough topic. It's not so easy to get into the mainstream. We are at it now for years and years, and it's still not there. So honestly, really.
And the challenge is that, you know, it's cost of entry, and Meta gives you a lower cost of entry, and that's where I started and many others. But then it's also tough to find other companies who are willing to take the risk and the big investment and make that PC VR offer for a lot of money, both for them and for the consumer. So
exactly. Yeah. And I also celebrate you and me.
Yeah.
Because like we're bringing content like this to people like those who are watching this live right now and who are going to listen to it later. So yeah. So we are all patting each other on the back. Well, I'm so glad to be back at podcasting. I totally forgot how much fun it is to talk about this topic. Really. Great. So good that you're here. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So now PImax, they had their big event. It's already now a couple of weeks back. It's called the PImax Frontier event. It is their yearly show where they talk about new things that they're going to do. And there's always something new about PImax, right? And normally these shows were kind of crazy. Like, can you remember like the show where they talked about the portal, where they were talking what they have in mind for the portal? It was a bit over the top. But this time, this Frontier event was kind of good, as it was down to earth, not too crazy. Obviously, there's some crazy stuff, but it's kind of down to earth. They have introduced the PImax Crystal Lite, a new version of the PImax Crystal that strips the PImax Crystal off of that stuff that we don't want, like the standalone stuff and the battery, right? So, and it's cheaper, right? Starting from $699. Good.
Yeah.
Right? We're going to talk about this a lot in a moment. Then they introduced the PImax Crystal Super, their new high-end crystal models, which are supposed to come in Q4. We don't know about the year yet, probably 2025 in my opinion, but
okay.
they probably meant 2024 in this year. We'll see about it. And yeah, that's the new high-end tier. So it's going to be one QLED model, which has a super high resolution, like 3840 by 3840. It's QLED with local dimming again, and like a wide FOV of 130 horizontally, which we want, right? Finally, that wide FOV thing, and that's nice. And they also have a micro OLED version, which is a new thing for PImax, getting into micro OLED. And that's also supposed to be a bit bigger FOV than all the others, of course, right? It wouldn't be PImax if they wouldn't go for that superlatives. And that is supposed to have like glass pancake lenses, like the first company ever to bring us glass pancake lenses.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting. It sounds good, but I truly don't believe it's going to happen in this year. We're going to discuss more about that. Yeah. And they also introduced they talked about their 60 gigahertz Airlink model. Module, right? So finally, the PImax Crystal is going to go wireless. So let me actually share this here. So yeah, very, very cool stuff. So first of all, in general, what were your thoughts about the show?
My initial reaction, I think, differed from a lot of the critics. And I was skeptical too when I saw the previous Frontier event where they announced the Crystal and the 12K, and as you said, the Portal all at once, and everyone said they're doing too much, and I thought the same thing at first too.
For this one now.
For the previous one, I thought they were doing too much, where they announced the Portal, right, and the 12K. But I was kind of giving my background, and then this most recent one, where they announced the Crystal Light and the two super variants and the wireless. I thought that wasn't crazy, and here's why.
Finally, not crazy. PImax, not crazy. Good.
And a lot of people, I think their reactions were, okay, they're doing 4 things again, but it's not that simple. I think it's a lot more iterative, subtle kind of improvements is what they're doing, right? They dropped the Portal, which, was probably too far outside what they should have been doing. And they've done mainly what fans have asked for. And mainly, some people said they're releasing 4 new models or 3 new models. I don't look at it that way. I look at it as like different trim levels on a car or different versions on a car, because they came out with the Crystal, which I didn't experience at launch. I got it much later. But having it much later and most of the things tested, a lot of the bugs worked out, I had a really good experience. It wasn't these stories I've heard about with, say, the 8K and the 5K and the Pi tool, where you had to do
it's more
all
streamlined
kinds
now.
Yeah, it really is plugs in play and works very simply with some basic, and I wouldn't say maybe it's not the first headset you should have, but if you've had a second headset, kind of, okay, I need Steam VR running, I need this and this, the basics. I think it works very well. And the main criticisms of the Crystal are what they're solving with this new announcement, right? So you've got the biggest concerns were it doesn't need standalone, it's too heavy, and these are the ones come to mind initially, and the Light solves that problem. Oh, and it's less money, under $1,000, only a little bit more, starting $699, I think it is, than the Quest 3. So I think for a lot of people who want to get into higher end PC VR, this is a natural step forward if that's something you want to do. If this is not for people who a lot of people go, oh, is this better than the Quest 3? And then you find out they don't have a PC. So but that's not going to work for you. This is PC VR. And if you want to take that, go into that step of kind of what we were talking about, all those extra peripherals, modding, Unreal Engine, Universal Injector, if you want to get into all that stuff, and you have some patience for tinkering with all that, this is great. And this is great because now you don't have to step up to a big screen beyond at $1,000 plus Lighthouse trackers. So you don't have to step up to any of the other very few offerings out there. So that plus lowering the price and taking away a lot of things people had complaints about, I think is huge. And I don't think it's reinventing the wheel. I think it's making the wheel more balanced and improving it. So that's kind of my takes on the Crystal Light.
Right. Yeah, cool. It's a very nice take. And let me also chime in. I really believe that the Crystal Light is a big win for PImax. This is exactly what we wanted. So I really loved the original Crystal already. And I was telling everyone, okay, if you want to have the best visuals in VR right now, it's the Crystal. But I always had to say that, but you are also paying for things that you're probably not going to use, like the standalone mode that it had. Nobody was using it, and you couldn't even do a wireless PC VR using Wi-Fi. You couldn't do it. It was completely useless. There were like a couple of apps, but it was not enough. And nobody bought the Crystal because of the standalone mode. Everyone bought it because of the PC VR mode, obviously. So that's that's always what I had to say. And I always also had to say, okay, if you want to play the 24 hours of Le Mans, you cannot do that because you have to use the batteries. And after 5 hours, you have to exchange the batteries, which is okay. It works, right? They give you 2 batteries there, but you need to use the batteries even in PC VR mode. Oh, bummer. It is okay, right? Like for me, I'm not in VR 5 hours in a row. Like my sessions are like a 1 hour, probably 1.5 hours max, and then I'm good, and then I have to do work, make the videos about it, right? But for people who are in it for more than 6 hours, it's a problem, and I always had to mention it, right? And then, so there was a problem, and then yes, the device is weighing 1.1 kilograms, so. There were so many people who were hating on the device, right? Oh, my neck. I don't want to break my neck. You know? But honestly speaking, the device itself is actually very balanced and comfortable. So yes, it is true. It is, you feel the weight, right? But you wear it like a hat, and therefore, in my opinion, it is okay. Like a motorbike helmet is heavier than this 1.1 kilograms.
And anyone who's got, say, the big competitor, what everyone else has, the Quest 2, the Quest 3, you all do some kind of modifications to it. I mean, especially those who own the Quest Pro, that was certainly something you couldn't even modify well. So, it is heavy. And if you got neck issues, I've said that, that's going to be a problem for you. There's no getting around it. But, I've used the Apache strap even with the regular crystal, which does have the battery for a little weight balancing. So you can do some mods. And if you don't mind doing that, then, you've done how to Quest, like I said, if you've had a Quest 2, a Quest 3, you've probably done a little bit of that anyways.
Yeah, right. And then also, like, if you mod the Quest with the Bobo VR, what is it called, M3 something, then also it becomes kind of this kind of weight, right? So yes. Anyways, I didn't think it was uncomfortable, and I still don't think it's uncomfortable, but that they did reduce the weight for this for like 310 grams is good.
I think they said 30%, which is huge,
which is good. And no more batteries, no more standalone stuff, just exactly what we want. PC VR, you plug it into your computer and you can play the 24 hours of Le Mans. Finally, yes, strike. That's great. And they still keep the inside-out tracking. And that is, in my opinion, that is big because there's so many people who bought the Reverb G2 because of me. So
me too. Yep.
Right. So they don't have base stations. And for these people who have been waiting for a replacement for their Reverb G2, this is the perfect headset in my opinion, right? Because they don't need base stations. It is the visual upgrade. It has the better lenses. They have a bigger FOV. And it is not going to break the bank like many other headsets. It fills that niche so well. Right?
Yeah. And it's, like you said, it's a great Reverb G2 replacement. It's still, just some things to kind of be aware of my experience, and everyone's is a little different. I do enjoy playing Beat Saber on Expert and even Expert Plus a little bit, not a whole lot. And some people have been asking the comments about the controllers. So the included controllers, I think, are good for everything up to Beat Saber Expert. I don't know if you disagree with me, but they seem to work pretty dang well up to that point.
I must say, even with the best tracking, I cannot do Expert Plus.
Okay.
so I'm out. But in my Discord server, we do have actually a Beat Saber player. Okay. And just today, he said that he can use these controllers also for Expert Plus.
Okay, so maybe it's just me.
And he says he even likes them better than the Innis controllers because they are lighter. And so he can enjoy it. So the good thing about these controllers is that they have been improved in their tracking from the very beginning. And that's something that you said, right? You didn't have it in the very beginning. I did have it in the very beginning. And in the very beginning, the tracking, the controller tracking was clunky. Really, it was not good enough. It was just like, okay, damn, or no. but then, like every single update, they improved the tracking, and now it is truly on par with the Picos and the Quests. So that is a good thing. Yeah. So of course we still have to wait for the actual testing, right? Because now with the PImax Crystal Lite, there's no XR2 chipset anymore, and the tracking was running on the XR2 chipset, and the XR2 is not there anymore. So now they have to do the tracking algorithms on our computers. And right, and therefore we really have to find out, is the tracking just as good as it is now? The good thing though is I've talked with Sweeviver, with Martin from PImax, and he has already checked out the tracking. He already has the device, which is great, and he told me that actually the same algorithms are now simply running on your computer, and it runs just as good. And I truly trust Sweeviver. I truly trust Martin. He would not tell me that if it wasn't actually the truth. So therefore, I'm very confident that this is going to happen, that this is going to work very well. So yeah, great. I'm so looking forward to that. I'm truly so excited about this headset, and therefore I'm pumping out video after video, and I'm going to make many more videos about this device.
I'm very confident that they've improved on the Crystal. And like I said earlier, one example you mentioned was the 24 hours of Le Mans topic, right? And playing and the battery life. So when at first I played the Crystal, even getting it later, I had the original. I wish I'd had it on hand. The USB box they created, right? So you can keep the battery charged longer.
Yeah, I have it too.
And that had a USB connector that was a little loose. But then they updated it, and they sent me the new one, and now that's not an issue anymore. And I've played Elite Dangerous, I think, for 3.5 hours. I haven't done 24 hours of Le Mans or the 6 hours, but I don't see a drop in battery power now. So I think a big thing with Crystal and with PImax is they have the enthusiasm we do as nerds. They get excited, they push the stuff out. But if you're patient and you're one of those tinkerers, first run, and you're okay with a little bit of frustrations, okay. But maybe wait for some testing to come out. That's just kind of I don't want anyone to be upset and say, I spent all this money and it's not perfect. Well, you are buying the bleeding edge, but you're gonna get, as I say, on the bleeding edge, you're gonna get cut a little bit. But I do think that PImax has, with my experience with the Crystal, they have improved over time. And I think it will get better over time too. And they're adding fewer newer things with the Super, with the Lite. It's an improvement rather than a full redesign. So I think there's less variables.
Agreed. And I'm very confident with the PImax Crystal Lite because it is basically the PImax Crystal that we know already since a year.
Right.
It's not like a completely new headset. So they basically just stripped it out, the stuff that didn't work and that nobody needed, and the stuff that works well and that they have already improved for 1 year stays inside. That's why I'm confident about this device, and that's why I would even say it's okay to pre-order it. I agree with people who say, okay, never pre-order stuff. I actually agree with this. So it is still the safest bet to wait for my review, your review, other YouTubers reviewing it. That's the safest bet for sure. But I'm truly wondering, how could PImax fuck this up? No,
right.
How?
It's 90% of the product is there. It's the second year of a car. It's, I've heard auto engineers say you never buy a car in the first year, and they even say that, being engineers themselves in the industry. But this isn't really its second year. This is a model refresh. This is listening to all the customers' feedback and improvement. So if you've never had a PImax before, if you only had Quest standalone, again, still maybe you're not ready for that level of tweaking and adjustments, because that's a whole jump forward in a lot of ways. But if I had to give my PImax Crystal back, I probably would, even knowing what I know since I've experienced the Crystal Lite, I probably would pre-order the Lite, because I know how
get in line, right? Just get in line.
Right.
Just get in line to really be in the first batches. That's what I said in my videos. If you want to get this early, pre-order right now. You can still wait for my review, which is going to come out sometime this month. And if for some reason they still manage to fuck it up, they can still get out of line again and cancel their reservation, right? So that's what I just have to laugh here, because I was just saying, how could PImax fuck this up?
Where's some wood?
Raw McRib helmet, PImax, hold my beer. I love it. Yeah,
exactly.
But I'm really wondering, what could they do? At this moment, I don't know. Like, probably the only thing that I could imagine right now would be like that they cannot deliver in time. That's what I think. That's probably the one thing I could believe how they could still, fuck this up, beep this up.
Yeah.
Right?
Hopefully we're post-pandemic and those issues aren't as bad as they were, but you never know.
Right. You never know. You never know what might happen. It's still PImax. But I'm really more confident than normally with the headset launch that this is going to work out well. Yeah. So, I'm going to get the review unit this month, I was told. Cool. And then, it's a lot of videos are going to be coming up. So we have different kind of models here. And I would like to go through the models. So first of all, we have the $699 model, which is the headset with controllers, but without the local dimming. Okay, interesting. That's just such a good price, right? $699. You have to think about it. Before, the headset cost $1,599. Came with all the stuff that you didn't need, the batteries, right? Standalone stuff, blah. Now you're getting it without the battery stuff, without the standalone, just the perfect only PCVR headset for $699. Wow. This is this is a no-brainer. And if you want, you can even pay it in installments, like $63 for 12 months. So yeah, okay, good. The thing is, this offer is nearly too good to still consider the other offers, though. What do you think about the cheapest offer, like without the local dimming?
I think it's great for 90% of players because the local dimming, so I do have that with the Crystal regular, and I really only notice the local dimming in something I play a lot, Elite Dangerous, and something I don't play a lot, horror games. I mean, if those are the if those aren't your main focus, you're still going to get the tremendous clarity of uncompressed, wired or nearly undetectable compression to get super technical, right? Nearly undetectable compression. And
we are nerds. We know about DSC. Yeah.
Yeah, right. That I'm going to misspeak if I get into that. So you get super clear connection. You get the amazing clarity, the pixels per degree, the glass lenses. You get the speakers. I wish Quest 3 had a good audio solution yet. I'm even looking at anyways. I love the off-ear speakers in this. It is really an index upgrade in most ways. Controller tracking, I'm still debate on, but you can even get that index faceplate. So anyways, the $699 for just a little bit more than the Quest 3. It's a great deal. And it's something that right? There hasn't been a mid-range for VR in quite a while. It's been Quest or, $1,000 plus headset. And that's now people have an option. And I think that's the best thing.
That is really good. Yeah, actually, I'm going to publish a video which is like through the lens, one time with local dimming and one time without, so people can make up their own minds. Nice. And I'm spoiling it a bit here if I would agree with you to say, even without local dimming, it's a great headset. Yeah. But if you want that upgrade, right? Like, for example, in Star Wars Squadrons, right, it is just breathtaking to have that local dimming. Right, so it's a tough choice.
Yeah, I might play that tonight. Actually, I need to play with some friends for May the 4th today. Right,
May the 4th. It's Star Wars Day. Perfect to talk about it. So I will play more Star Wars today as well. May the 4th be with you. So so $699 is such a great price, incredible. And again, I agree with you. If you're not playing horror games or if you're not playing this kind of space games, you will enjoy it a lot. Yeah, so $799 headset only with local dimming. I think this is obviously the way to go if you are a simmer.
Yep.
Right?
A simmer in particular.
Space simmer, exactly. But
or nighttime aeronautical sim, right?
Exactly. Like Microsoft Flight Simulator, you can do a night flight right? So yeah, it does look much better. So a great option for simmers, probably the way to go. And yeah, you can enjoy the device without the controllers since you have your HOTA setup or whatever you have.
Yeah.
$799. Wow, it's the pricing is just so good. They've done a great job on this device. Truly. Yeah, $899 is the headset with the Lighthouse faceplate and local dimming. So it's the no-brainer for all the Index users.
Under $1,000, which is a big mental hurdle to get over.
Right, under the $1,000, and cheaper than the Big Screen Beyond. And the Big Screen Beyond is also an amazing headset. I really love it too. Yeah, so you have the option now, and truly for Index users who don't care to have another bulky device, this is even a bit more bulky than the Index is. But if it's just about the visuals, this should be your upgrade, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the audio is great too. I don't know for those DMAS.
All right, but this is important to say. This does not come with a DMAS.
My mistake.
This does not come with a DMAS.
Okay.
With the over-ear. This comes with an audio solution which is supposed to be Quest-ish.
Gotcha.
Right. So yeah,
which a lot of people don't. Ask for better. The Quest 3 audio improved a lot, so maybe that's enough for most people.
Yeah, we have to see. So obviously they needed to downgrade this to get to these price points, and then if you want to buy those DMAS, those better over-ear speakers, you can still do that later. Right?
Okay.
You can still upgrade. So it's a kind of a modular approach. Yeah, so you can have this. You can use this with your Lighthouse setup with the Lighthouse faceplate, which is nice and a great upgrade for Valve Index users. And like the visuals are like so much better than Valve Index.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
And it's funny because I have the Index too, and I bought it used just to try because it was so well renowned. And it's the field of view is cool, but then going back now, that's still Fresnel lenses, and now we're in the age of either aspheric or pancake, and you go back to the Index and, oh man, now I see the glare. Like I didn't see it before.
Yeah.
But the field of view, I still love field of view.
Yes.
But I tend to forget about it when everything's just such a wow factor as far as the crystal's resolution and in the case of the QLED, the local dimming.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I agree. I also love the FOV of the Index, but the clarity of the crystal is just from another planet. It just makes a huge difference also not to have those effects, the
glare
and the God rays, right? So yeah, just today I went again into Half-Life Alyx in the crystal. It's shocking. It's just shocking how good it looks. I need to do more through the lens videos just to show people.
It's funny you said that. I think the thing with the crystal is it might be the first game, and granted, I haven't tried as many higher-end headsets, higher-resolution headsets you have, where I think I finally see the resolution limit of Half-Life Alyx, where the headset is actually better quality. Like I look at texture, I can finally see a little fuzziness.
Right.
I think that's the game. That's not the headset for the first time.
Right. You're right. But it's just breathtaking.
Oh, yeah.
It's wow. Today I felt like, wow, oh no, I need to play more of Half-Life Alyx again. Because the first playthrough, there was on the Index, and it was mind-blowing at that time to use the Index for that, right? But now we're in that high-resolution age and aspheric glass lenses age. Like, yeah, I might need to do it. But the first thing, I need to do more through the lens videos and show everyone just to see how the PImax Crystal Lite is going to look like, because it has the same lenses and the same display like the Crystal, and therefore, yes, that's going to be good. Wow, very cool. So, and then there is one more model, and it's the $899 model with the local dimming and the controllers. So yeah, I personally really love the local dimming, right? For these,
same here.
Right. Like for the night flights, for Star Wars Squadrons, for Elite Dangerous. But I must say that a $200 how to say that, bonus, or how to say that, like a $200
Upcharge?
upcharge as compared to the $699 one. It feels a bit steep. What are your thoughts about that?
It is a big, percentage-wise, I don't know what that is mathematically, but it's a significant upgrade. Again, I think it comes down to, like we've been saying, the local dimming is if you care about the darkest blacks. And some people, maybe you joined the discussion earlier, if you had a Quest, things like that, you don't know. Local dimming, in short, is the blacks look darker and you have greater contrast as opposed to, say, in your space game, in a horror game, when you're in a dark room, the black areas are kind of gray with, say, like a Quest with an LCD screen.
Yes.
But you don't notice that in a bright environment. So again, that aspect, I think I personally, that's me, because I play so many space games and Half-Life Alyx in the Shadows, I would definitely pay for the QLED.
Yeah.
But
mini LED,
mini LED, or the local dimming. But as for the controllers, I think only, and again, someone else said it's fine. For Beat Saber, when I play it, I do prefer the index controllers. Okay. So I would pay for that, but that's probably about the only case. Right. Everything else, Pistol Whip, we're also doing those kinds of games. Fast movement, or fine. It's only when you're moving your hands so incredibly fast at that Expert Plus level that I've noticed tracking issues. So I would, if it was me, I would get the Crystal Light with QLED and the DMAS. But that's me. Everyone's needs and preferences are going to be different. And I think it is a big price increase. For me, for immersion, it's worth it. For my gameplay. Right. For my gameplay.
Yeah, for me too. I'm happy that I have it, and I would go for the light version with local dimming as well. Just like, in my opinion, the pricing of this, the price difference of the same headset with local dimming and without local dimming, those $200, it feels a bit steep. And in my opinion, they should have made the $899 version with the controllers more attractive by adding more stuff to it. In my opinion, they should have added the DMAS over-ear speakers for that $899 version to make that $899 version more exciting and more attractive to people. Because the $699 version is just so good, like price-wise.
Right. Unfortunately, we don't. At least I don't know. And maybe they're subsidizing to hit that $699, like Meta does. Or
they're not making lots of money with it.
Yeah,
for sure. No, it's just too good.
And unfortunately, unlike Meta, I think they have to generate a profit. And they can't just rely on their stocks prices and Zuckerberg saying, "I don't care. We're for losing money. We're gonna," So there's the realities of things actually cost a lot. And, it's amazing that even at $699, it can get as close as it does to the Quest 3 price.
Yeah, exactly. Agreed. But, even $899 is actually a great price for once you get that local dimming version. And again, local dimming, it is really a worthy upgrade. Today I made the video, and you're going to see it probably later today or tomorrow, and you will see just how much better it looks in Star Wars Squadrons, in night races, and so on and so forth, right? So, while I wish that they would have made the $899 version a bit more attractive by putting the DMAS, I can also appreciate the fact that it comes with local dimming and that it's still an amazing headset at a great price. And also, you could think about the following. You were probably going to use that hopefully for 2 years. Or like 20 months or so. And then if you think about, okay, every month I pay $10 for local dimming. Is it worth it for me that I have really perfect blacks?
That's
for
less
one whole
than a
month?
Netflix subscription.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. Exactly. So I would say it's worth it, and it's great. Yeah, but if I was the person in charge at PImax, I would definitely make the $899 version more attractive. Oh, I would be such a great manager for a VR hardware company. Oh my goodness!
Yeah, why don't they just really? Yeah, exactly.
I would like myself in that position.
And the other thing is, thinking about, I've mentioned Quest 3 is the next less expensive competitor. What's the next most expensive competitor? The Big Screen Beyond. And
I love that too.
You don't get controllers.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's $1,000, and you don't have an audio solution at all.
exactly.
So,
So the light is just like so. Yeah, it just fits into this industry so well. Like the gap that we have now, because there's no Reverb G3, is just like being filled so nicely by the PImax Crystal Light. And well, I can't wait to get my hands on it. Right. Until then, I'm going to make more content with my PImax Crystal to give people an idea about how the PImax Crystal Light is going to be like. But yeah, I'm so excited for it, and I can feel that the community is excited about it too. And PImax finally doing the right thing that we want them to do. So, PImax, if you're watching this, do not fuck this up.
Yeah, and speaking of the lack of G3, right, and the whole Windows mixed reality thing, I mean, yeah, my Reverb G2 is going to be collecting dust now, and that's what, 500 when it came out, something around there.
Yeah, was a good price.
So right here you have, and which wasn't local dimming, which doesn't have as good of a field of view,
exactly.
Which doesn't have as good controller tracking,
and the lenses also no.
Yeah, I mean, and the Fresnel, right? Fresnel lenses still are, and still. You look at what you're getting with the Crystal Light, and it's a no-brainer upgrade over the Reverb G2.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
but people are ordering this quite a lot. I can tell through my affiliate links. So people want this, and yeah, this is so good, and they will love it. They will love it when they connect it to their gaming PCs. But also I have to say, they need a good gaming PC, right? I'm running it now on a 4090, which is like a dream. It's so good. 4080 would also probably work. But if you have a 3080 at home, it's going to work, but you have to downgrade the super sampling quite a bit. So yeah, you need a beefy GPU.
And that is a big factor for anyone who's considering getting into PC VR is the rig for sure. I had a 3080 with the Crystal at first, and I sold it. It was only the 3080 10 gigabyte, which I had to pay over MSRP for, I'm sad to say, during the pandemic. And it did okay when I could get the eye tracking working, but I upgraded to, I'm one of the rare ones out there. I was so sick of NVIDIA that I decided to go with a Radeon 7900 XTX with it's 24 gigabytes of VRAM.
Okay, but does it work with VR?
It works great, except it does well. It works actually really well with the Crystal, except for eye tracking. Here's the thing, and Omni whatever is another YouTuber who explains this and teaches me a lot about this way more than me. I forget if it's DirectX 11 or DirectX 12. Something about Radeon cards don't work with eye tracking in most cases. But it brute forces its way. That card is so powerful. It's basically a 4080 is what it's roughly equivalent to. It doesn't do as well at ray tracing, but except for ray tracing and eye tracking, most VR games, I do great, and I don't have any issues. Downside is, though, if I want to do eye tracking, I've got to mod it and use quad views with Pavlov or quad views I haven't tried with DCS World. I need to try that and get into that. So anyways, where I'm kind of going with this is, you do need a big, beefy graphics card. They're expensive, and that's something you got to factor in the price, too.
Unfortunately, yeah. But then if you have it, it's just like so good. You want it. It's a huge upgrade. So for everyone who's out there is just playing like Quest 3, the standalone games, which already look okay and not bad, but PC VR is still on a whole different level, and all the games that you can play now with the UE VR mod, it's crazy. It's just scratching the surface.
Yeah, it's tough to go back and play standalone. Even though the Quest 3 is great, it's tough to go back and play it when I've got the Crystal. And I kind of wish, and this is maybe a conversation we'll get into later, like, man, I know where there aren't any standalone games for Crystal, but if Meta's gonna make it available to their headsets, I wonder if I could play some standalone games on my regular Crystal if they ever open up OS to PImax. I don't think it's ever gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen, but
it's nice to dream. It's nice to dream, because that would be the ideal situation.
That would be pretty perfect, exactly. Yeah. Who knows what's going to come? Yeah, anyways, let's keep on talking about what happened at the PImax Frontier event, because they also showed some other headsets, and let's talk about this next. So let's talk about the Super headsets. The PImax Crystal Super.
Super exciting.
Super exciting. Another category, another crystal category. So let's talk about it. 2 different models. One is QLED with the same display technology that they're using on the crystal that we have now, and one micro OLED that should be new to them. Now, the crazy thing about this that I didn't even mention in the beginning of the show is that they have come up with interchangeable optical stacks. What?
I think that's a great idea.
It is. Honestly, it is. But in the very first beginning, when I heard about this, I thought like, oh, another gimmick, another gimmicky thing. But yeah, let's talk about it. Let's first describe what it is. So, once you get your PImax Crystal Super, you can either choose one of the models, right? QLED or micro OLED, once they are both available, or you could simply get both and one housing because they're using the same housing, and there's an interchangeable optical stack. So you could use the same housing, the same controllers, the same inside-out tracking with the 2 models, because if you want to use the QLED version, then you have the QLED optical stack installed, which is the lenses and the displays. But here, this part here is interchangeable. So if you instead want the micro OLED version, then you could exchange that optical module and slot that one in, which has then the micro OLED displays and the pancake glass lenses. Wow. So yeah, you don't have to decide, right? Do I want this one or that one? You can have both. So you think it's a great idea? Andrew, tell us about it.
I do, because people freaked out when they said, oh, PImax is announcing 4 things But again, it's almost like you order any car, you've got different trim levels. You swap out the engines, but the suspension, the frame, everything else is pretty much the same. So I don't think they're different trim levels. They're not whole new headsets. And if you're going to reuse the same housing, the same strap, the same audio, then yeah, let's save some money and reuse those components and be able to upgrade, like upgrading your PC. You upgrade a couple components when you want to and not have to build a brand new PC or throw out the old components. So on that level, I definitely like it. And I think I'm kind of torn on like which unit I would want to go for, right? Yeah. I've mentioned I like the deep blacks, and I had an OLED back with Quest 1. I've got the QLED or mini LED, the local dimming on the regular crystal, and it's pretty darn great for most situations. There is some blooming, right? In some situations when you got it set on, in the PImax, you can set different levels of local dimming. If you set it to extreme, I will see when I'm looking at text in a dark room, some bloom when there's really big contrast. And the OLED might eliminate that. I don't know. But here's the big question, is the field of view on the micro OLED. What are you trading off there? That's right. Kind of my...
It's going to be smaller. It's going to be way smaller, for sure.
And I wonder if it's going to be smaller, like the current crystal field of view, I'm happy with. Yeah. I'd like more. I don't even need greater resolution. The same pixels per degree of the current crystal, I think, is perfect.
It's pretty good, right? Yeah.
But if we're widening the field of view, then you probably need more pixels, right? Yeah. So that's kind of the big questions I'm having is, I want the same pixel per degree of 35 ppd, I think it is on the crystal. On the super QLED, I think would be ideal for me. But if it's 50 ppd, do I need a 5090, or is the eye tracking going to be enough? There's a lot of questions I have about the new one, about the Super.
Okay, got it. Yeah, we'll get to both in a moment. Let me also tell you about my opinion with the interchangeable optical stack. It is just such a PImax thing, in my opinion, right? It's just like, okay, they come up with some idea and they were asking themselves the question, which technology should they use? Is QLED good enough for people, right? With a nice bigger field of view of 130 degrees horizontally. That's exactly what the PImax fans actually want, right? They want this bigger FOV. Or do we want that hot new thing, right? The micro OLED, the one that the Apple Vision Pro has, but with a little bit smaller FOV. And the PImax thinking is, both, everything, everything, everything in one device. You know, just like exactly how they made the PImax Crystal, the device that wants to be the jack of all trades, where people don't have to do any compromises. And in the end, unfortunately, it is the jack of all trades, but master of not everything, master of one. Not master of none, right? Because it is really crystal clear, but it's not this device that can do everything well. In my opinion, if I was the project owner, well, I would love to do something like this, being a project owner of something like this. I would simply go for one higher tier headset. And I'm telling you, if I was PImax, I would simply go for the QLED 130 degrees. Because it will be good enough. Because, you know, like we love the Crystal and what it does with the local dimming, right?
Right.
130 degrees, horizontal field of view, fantastic, right? People will love it. And if they would have just introduced this Super, the PImax Crystal Super, it is this one device which is 130 degrees, which has like 50 ppd. People would have just said, shut up and take my money. Right? No questions asked. They would rule. Believe me, Andrew, they would rule with this headset if it really comes out. Now they've added more complexity. Is it a word? Complexity? Complexity. There it is.
Yeah.
They've added more complexity in it with this whole module exchange module thing. They have given us another thing where they can just disappoint people when it does not come out in Q4 2024, because I'm telling you, this is not going to come out in Q4 2024. I'm telling you, I'm sure they have not secured the micro OLED displays, because it's tough to get those micro OLED displays right now. They did not secure them for sure, because they simply don't have the money to buy them already. So everything is just this typical PImax carrot that is dangling in front of us for all these years, making us want the next best thing, forgetting about the current headset. You know, it's just a carrot. It's just a carrot that is fantasy. None of those two headsets, in my opinion, is a real thing right now. It is an idea, especially the micro OLED one, with lenses that are not existent on this planet right now. They need to make them themselves, and therefore I'm telling you guys, if you want the micro OLED model, this is not going to happen this year for sure. Hopefully, it could happen in 2025. Yeah, probably 2025. But this is the typical PImax carrot which is dangling in front of you. The QLED model, much more
likely.
Much more likely. Exactly, that's the word, and probably going to happen sooner.
That's what I was hoping you were saying. It was like, I can see the OLED being delayed, no question. That's new territory, new technology, and there's limitations, it sounds like, as far as how big you make the OLED screens, et cetera. But the QLED, I'm like, man, I'm hoping that's coming out this year, because that's technology they do have currently.
Right. I agree. I agree. I think it's coming. But then also for micro OLED, the great thing about micro OLED and Pancake is that you can make sexy headsets. Sexy headsets that look cool, right?
The smaller form factor is what the big buzz is, right?
Exactly.
That's a good point.
And then with this PImax, with the same housing like the QLED version, you're going to have this huge thing with a micro OLED headset that could have a much sexier form factor that does not have this kind of weight on your head, right? And therefore, I truly believe if I was the person to make the decisions at PImax, I would only come out with the PImax QLED 130 degrees QLED version, and people would love it, and they would celebrate me as the hardware manager.
No, I'm personally with you. I agree the QLED is the way to go, and it would simplify their product lineup and everything else. Yes. But just for argument's sake, let's pretend. So if they'd only announced, right, just the Lite and the Super QLED,
Yeah.
would people still say, oh, they're doing 2 headsets? Now they're still doing too many things at once.
No, I think it
Okay.
would be digestible if they came
Okay.
up with the Lite now as a cheaper version for everyone, like the everyone high-end PCVR headset, and the higher-end Crystal QLED with the new display, with the higher PPD, with the higher FOV. It would all make sense, and they would take the complexity out of it. They would sell more and have less disappointments. That's my opinion.
You're probably right. All right, I'll throw another one out there.
Yeah.
All right. So let's say I'm the head of PImax and you say, hey, we should just come out with this small form factor, compete with the Beyond and the Quest 3 micro OLED. We can do it because we'll have pancake lenses instead. And you say, and the engineer comes back and says, okay, well, that's going to be twice the price because we're not using the pre-existing crystal head strap and all that stuff.
You're right. You're right. That's a good argument.
Maybe
for
it's
it.
not twice the price, but you know what I'm saying?
I totally get you. You're right. And that is really on the advantage side of this kind of thinking, to have it all modular, right? You can reuse things, and that's good. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see
we don't
about
have all the information. We're hindsight critics, but
We
that's just
are.
kind of fun guessing.
But
Yeah.
it's fun. But it's fun.
Exactly.
It's fun to.
You know,
It's fun to do that.
And I'm glad we can have this discussion and just kind of speculate and throw things out there. If people just going, oh, well, this is just the way you have to think about it because you're in charge. You like this brand, and it's just fun. We all have choices, and it's nice to have those choices.
Exactly. So let's get to the pricing. We didn't even talk about the pricing yet. Crystal Super QLED, $1,799 US. All the prices are really good in my opinion. It's really for high-end PCVR. These prices are aggressive prices. Crystal Super Micro OLED, $1,999. Yes, makes sense. Just think about it. The Apple Vision Pro cost $3,500, and even more if you take more storage. And I had to pay for the flight to San Francisco. Ridiculous. Anyways, so this is actually a really good price. And then you can have both the Crystal Super Bundle for $2,399, and you have both. It is basically a no-brainer, right? It's just for us PCVR fans. It is just that super juicy carrot. The carrot is unbelievably juicy.
Yeah, if you were thinking the Crystal Super, the Crystal first generation, right? About, I forget what it launched at exactly. I know its price has gone up and down a little bit. The Crystal Super QLED, greater FOV and no battery. It's basically like the Crystal regular 2.0 for roughly the same starting price. The $1,799 sounds shocking, but it's not much more, or about the same, I think, as Crystal regular when it launched.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
Now, micro OLED, I would need to know more specs. I need to know field of view. That's the big question.
I'm telling you, this is a fantasy headset. It's non-existent. It's a beautiful picture on this webpage. Nothing more. It takes so much more to make a micro OLED headset. You really have to secure those panels, and you have to be a bigger player to really get them, because Apple's also buying them and others.
Good point.
It's a fantasy headset. This is fantasy what we're seeing here right now. And then what is not even here on the website, but what they said in their stream, I'm telling you, they're making this carrot even more juicy. They make it super juicy. I really want to bite into it. So they make it even more juicy because they say, if you own a Crystal, they will give you a $400 discount on these headsets. Oh my God. It's like, it cannot be more carroty than this, in my opinion.
Although I will say, they did a discount offer like that when the Crystal launched, right? If you're a previous PImax owner, I don't think it was $400. It was maybe $300 trade in, if I'm some sort of, you trade upgrade.
Yeah.
Am I right on that?
Yeah.
But at least if you're going from a Crystal to a Crystal Super, most of what you're getting. It's not like going and I didn't have the AKX, but the AKX to a Crystal was more of a question mark, more of a risk at the time, right? Versus I think this is a newer model. So I can get that a little bit more.
Yeah, okay. But the thing is, for these $400 discounts, you don't even have to send in your old crystal. It's just like a discount because you are a good guy. You're a PImaxian and you bought the crystal before. So yeah, you're simply going and get it.
And you could sell your crystal regular.
Yeah, exactly.
And still get that $400 discount and be not that far off.
Ender, the thing is, it just sounds too good to be true. And when things sound too good to be true, they are not always true. Very often, they are not true.
And to be fair, the first crystal I've gotten was the regular. I haven't been through some of the other bigger promises and had disappointing experiences like I know some PImax people have.
Yeah.
So that's a good point.
Man, as much as I love PImax, I must honestly say I don't agree to these kind of policies, to these kind of super huge carrots that they put in front of us dangling. It is just like too good to be true. Just like the thing about the trade-in, right? For the 12K, where they said like, okay, any kind of PImax headset that you have, the full price of it, you're going to get like calculated in your 12K purchase. So many people, because of that promise, many people bought the PImax 8KX, which is not a bad headset. But they thought like, okay, the 12K they wanted is going to come out end of 2022. That's what it was. That was what was written on their slide when they talked about that trade-in, right? So many people were lured into buying that PImax 8KX with the hope of getting that too good to be true trade-in for the 12K, and now we're here in May 2024, and the PImax 12K is probably years away from now.
Yeah, I probably would be upset if I was. Did they take orders on the 12K or not? I didn't know if they did.
No, I don't think so.
So at least there's that, but it does go towards PImax's reputation of over-promising and under-delivering. It doesn't help their case.
It doesn't help the case. So if I was in charge again about this, I would stop with those crazy trade-in stuff. Just say, okay, here, these are our new models. Here, Crystal Super, QLED, only this, not the others, if I was the guy in charge. And these are the prices, $1,799, and that's it. Without those crazy trade-ins, because people will just get disappointed and people will just not trust this brand in the future. And the problem is they do have this bad brand image, right? They are recovering from it, in my opinion. Like with the Crystal is really like a really good product. Yeah. And with the PImax Crystal Lite, in my opinion, they have the chance to completely get out of this bad image, right? Because this is going to be a good product. But they must stop with these crazy offers. That's what I think.
And you don't have to trade in your crystal to get the new one, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a discount.
Is it $400?
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. Well, what can we buy with $400? A lot.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Almost a Quest 3?
Yeah, almost a Quest 3. So, yeah. So still some management decisions. I must honestly say I don't subscribe to that. And they would be more successful if they didn't do it, in my opinion.
I can't disagree.
And I really want you, the people out there who are watching this right now live, I want you to chime in the comment section, because PImax is going to read the comment section and they are watching this. So please chime in. Do leave a comment in the comment section and do let us know. Do you agree with me that these kind of the dangling carrot in front of us, stop that stuff? Stop it. Just deliver the stuff. Make us happy. And don't overpromise with crazy trade-ins and crazy discounts. That's, we really have to see, is it going to become a reality? Yeah, that was my little rant.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's fair enough, right? We have to name it how it is. Yeah, so So about the whole super thing, in my opinion, it looks interesting, but not real. It's a fantasy right now. So in my opinion, the PImax Crystal Lite, that is truly the reality. That is exciting. That excites me because it's going to happen very soon, right? They are nearly ready. So that is the headset to get excited about. The other things, juicy carrots that are far away. 2025.
I wouldn't order until someone's gotten their hands on it physically.
Yeah,
and
right.
Actually been able to do, and multiple people's opinions, because everyone experiences VR differently.
That's true. Well, at least it's only a 99 cents reservation fee, right? That's at least not like I don't know, like a
huge gear.
Yeah, a huge cost, exactly. Yeah. Anyways, that's that, and let's see when we're going to see the supers. Gonna be later. I don't believe in Q4. I believe in, I don't know, next year. Let's see.
It's a bummer.
It's a bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, it's not a bummer because we're going to have the PImax Crystal Lite, and many people will be delighted about how it looks, right? Because the crystal is just so good. Yeah, wow, crystal stuff, good stuff. Then we had one more. We had one more announcement, which is the crystal, which is Airlink. Finally, it's going to happen. In Q3, it's going to happen. It's the wireless module. You can attach it to your PImax Crystal, and it's going to make the PImax Crystal wireless. Yes, and it's not using the same technology like your Quest 3 or your Pico headset. No, this is 60G, and it's a frequency that is not overused as 2.4 or 5, and therefore, you have a bigger throughput. You have a picture quality that is way better than what you see on the Quest, for example. So you don't have this crazy compression artifacts.
Yeah,
and you also don't have the delay. It's honestly, I was very happy when I tried it at CES this year. It worked amazingly well. Like me and Marco, my colleague, when we tried it out, we were surprised. We were like, wow, this is surprisingly good. It looked just as the cabled version. Pretty exciting, right? Yeah.
That's cool to hear, because I know, I think I saw the video. You guys were testing it in that booth kind of there.
In that tent, yeah, right.
Because that's an issue, all the interference at CES.
Exactly.
And it's cool to see it because it is, granted, it's taken a very long time for them to come out with it, but one of the things people say is PImax doing too much. They did show this with, what was it, the Crystal and the Q12K announcement way back when. And they are finally, well, not delivering yet, but ready to sell it finally.
Right.
Which is cool to see. But I haven't tested it. So you don't notice does it shrink? Like, I know when they put the Crystal regular, which would be compatible with this in standalone mode, it shrinks kind of the field of view. At least it looks like that. No,
it didn't. No, it did not. At CS, they still only had 60 hertz, but now for the final one, it's supposedly doing 90 hertz at the full resolution. Wow!
And I think 90 is the magic number for most people. 120 hertz is nice. I can notice it, but I forget that I'm experiencing it.
Yeah. 90 is okay. For me, 90 is fine. I can play 90 hertz all day, and I'm good with it. So, I was surprised how well it works. Couldn't feel any latency. Picture looked good. Yeah, so for people who want to experience their Crystal wirelessly, now you can for $299 if you pre-order now. $50 off, so $249. In my opinion, it's a great price if you have a use case. That's the point. Like for me, probably I don't really have the use case, since I'm fine to have seated experiences with my Crystal. I play Squadrons. I play Squadrons on it. Yeah, I don't need it.
I play Squadrons, I play Elite, I play a lot of things seated, but I'm weird. I don't get bothered that much by the weight of the Crystal. Yeah. And I would and I've tried it with my cat treadmill, and you can see behind me, right? I'm spinning in a circle, and I'm worried. The only thing is, I'm worried about twisting that cable and breaking that cable. The only problem I have is that it's relies on that. I think Sweetviver said transported. I'm going to get this wrong. Foveated running eye tracking, right?
Yeah.
And with my graphics card, personally, I'm in the minority. I sounds like it won't work. But if I had a 4080, and I'm going to see maybe if I can trade for one or something like that, this would be awesome. This would be awesome for that, or VR chatters who are walking around the room, or
yes,
well,
for that use case, it's great. I have someone in my Discord community on the German server. He is using the Crystal for VR chat for dancing.
Okay,
it's so cool, and yeah, he's obviously looking forward to that. Finally, he can even go more crazy dancing in the device. So yeah, it's great, and I'm still excited about it because I am such a geek for exciting hardware, and this is a piece of bleeding edge technology, and that's why I'm excited about it. Being able to have this high-end PC VR experience, uncompressed. Well, at least it looks uncompressed. There will be some kind of compression involved. In my original Crystal is cool, and finally, this makes the original Crystal more useful with those batteries, right? Because until now, those batteries were basically only a pain in the butt. But now, finally, we have a use for it, right? We have a use for it, and that is good.
And the price at first is like $300. That's a lot. But I try to think of, is there anything that competes with it? What's it called? The Nofio was that wireless index system, and that's 400 or 500, and it doesn't. I think people are disappointed with it, so it's not an unreasonable price if you need wireless.
I agree. It's not an unreasonable price, and Technic Checker just says, okay, so at least 20 MRTV push-ups, because I was doing some sports in one of my videos where I was showing off. The cable system. I was doing
the VR Wire 2.
VR Wire 2, exactly. It's great, and I was doing some sports with it, just showing how well it works. Yeah, you're right, Technic Checker. I should do some crazy sports. I should do some martial arts kicks and spins. Yeah, I will do that. I promised. when
you do it with VR Kung Fu, Dragon Fist Kung Fu. That's a great one for that.
That's a good idea. Perfect. Yeah. So they are hopefully going to deliver finally on that. It's set to be in Q3. And cool. And it's full of technology, right? They can only achieve that 90 hertz with a full resolution because they're using foveated transport with eye tracking. So
that's it.
That's exactly why I'm excited about it. It just puts so much technology into this kind of small form factor, because the thing itself, just look at it. It is like a small thing. It's not heavy at all, right? It's cool.
Like compared to the Vive option someone's talking about in the chat, or the Nofio, those things are huge.
And people don't really like the Nofio. Those people who received it, they totally don't like it at all. So
to be that size, that's impressive.
Yeah, to be this size is really, really cool engineering. So very much looking forward to try it, and I'm glad that PImax is delivering. So whatever they have talked about in the past, you just have to be very patient, and sooner or later it does arrive at your doorstep. Yeah, so I also do think that the 12K is going to arrive at our doorsteps at one point in time. Just like they have to be more consistent with their dates, and they have to hit them more often, hopefully. Yeah, so this is going to happen in Q3. I think it's cool that the Crystal Original finally is going to have the wireless option. Nice.
Definitely.
Yeah, so we saw really a lot of interesting PImax news thanks to their Frontier event.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, cool. Yeah, that was it. Did we talk about all PImax related news, Andrew?
I think we did. So we've talked about, I think, everything they brought up in that new announcement. Exciting stuff. So some other exciting stuff coming up too.
Yeah, exciting. So So there was that. And please do leave your comments in the comment section. What are your thoughts about PImax? Which of the headsets are you excited about? Do you agree with me that the super headsets are exciting, but probably the dangling carrot in front of us? And yeah. And do you want me to become a hardware manager? Making the MRTV headset. Do let me know in the comment section below. Yes, so let's pivot and let's get to something else. Let's get to Meta. And they had a really, really super exciting announcement that took me by surprise. I believe that everyone was kind of surprised by this announcement. Meta is opening Quest operating system to third-party headsets, marking a massive shift in strategy. That's the headline here from Road to VR. And in this article, we also find out that there is going to be, that they're already finalizing talks, or they have already finalized talks with Asus and the ROG brand within Asus, like Republic of Gamers, right? It's like our thing, right?
Yeah,
the
PC
nerd
building,
thing, the nerd thing.
Huge brand. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, they are going to make a headset for gamers with the Meta operating system. So the Meta operating system is going to be called Horizon OS. That's cool. Then there's going to be another headset from Lenovo, which is going to be all about education. Yeah, for us, not so interesting, but for the educational sector, that's cool.
Yeah.
And there's going to be an Xbox branded Quest 3 with a different kind of color scheme and the controller, the wireless controller boxed in the box. That's cool. I think it's cool. So this news hit me completely by surprise, and do let me know about your thoughts when you heard about it the first time.
First off, this makes no sense, because we think about Meta and what they've been doing. At least my understanding of their business model was it sounded more like Apple, which is
right. They want
what
to be
they're trying to counter. Right.
Yes.
It's control the hardware, control the store, control, so that we can optimize for just our hardware, like Apple does just their OS for their hardware. It makes sense. It made them successful. They can charge higher prices for their stores than Steam does, because that's the only place you can buy their games. So I didn't get it at first, but it's kind of been a couple different things came together at once that kind of now I see why, right? You heard Google, there was some sort of thing where they said, hey, I want you to open up your Meta OS to Google and Android so we can sell on your store, however that works, so Google can get some of that VR gaming money and get into AR and VR, because, Apple's doing it, we got to do it too, even though we've really not generated any interest in that. And I wouldn't want that to happen either, because Google picks things up and then drops it. And so they got pressure there, and then also they got pressure from Apple and their Apple Vision Pro. So they say, okay, what can we do? And I'm guessing Zuck decided we've got to be the anti-Apple. We've got to open things up and open up our operating system. And that, okay, from a PR standpoint, I get that. Took me a while to figure that out. But then I think the other thing that's really smart is we've all heard that the reason the Quest headsets have been so affordable is Meta's been subsidizing them. And that's, if they're not making money, they're losing money selling all those headsets. So let someone else make those headsets, and they just focus on their store, the operating system. It's funny they call it Horizon Worlds, and maybe somehow trying to make Horizon better, but good luck with that. In theory, we get cooler headsets from all these other manufacturers. But I think that's a double-sided sword for us consumers, because if Meta didn't subsidize the Quest 3, what would that thing cost? What is Asus Republic of Gamers, where you pay, which arguably the most popular, not that any motherboard manufacturer has a great reputation. They all have their issues. And Asus has had their controversy too. But people will pay, for the myself included, the really cool liquid cooler with the GIF logo or GIF logo displaying on it, right? For RGB and extra stuff like that, that doesn't actually have performance, but they'll pay a higher price for it. What's an Asus ROG, Republic of Gamers, Quest 3 equivalent going to cost?
Yeah, more expensive for sure.
Right.
Right. But well, there's still going to be the Quests. They're still going to make those subsidized headsets.
They are.
I believe.
Do you know that? Okay. So that's the big question. If they'll still be able to get the affordable one.
Right. I do believe. Well, they did say that they will keep on doing quests, and I believe there's still going to be some kind of subsidized. So I still think, yeah, right.
Well, then that's fine. Then that's a win-win. You have the option for the better one, or you still get the one you can afford. That's great.
I also agree with you. I think it's a win for us consumers as well. Because, yeah, we do want more headsets, right? I do want to see what Asus comes up with. Probably it is going to be that perfect headset they were looking for with the Quest Store, but also with a display port to play the PC VR game, something that Quest never is going to do in the future, right? But a dedicated Asus ROG headset that is geared towards gaming, it makes sense to have like a display port, right? So I think it is a great decision. And thanks so much, Duke19, for 100 Swedish crowns. Thank you so much. That is cool. I believe that are Swedish crowns, SEK, right? So, yeah, cool. Thank you so much. So in my opinion, I was surprised at first, but it makes sense in my opinion, and it is the right move. I believe that Meta kind of was forced to it. They are kind of scared about, just like you said, the competition, and they are they're trying to make sure that they don't lose that lead that they have in the industry right now, right? They have invested like millions of dollars, probably billions, I don't know, probably billions of dollars into this XR, into this platform, and they don't want to lose that lead. And they are afraid of losing that lead to Google, perhaps, because Google is going to do the Android thing again, right? It is going to be that open platform where third-party manufacturers can simply put that operating system on it, have the store, and then reach more people. For mobile phones, it was just a winning strategy. And they are afraid that Google simply is going to steal that lead away. Because if I was a headset manufacturer, again, I'm still the hardware manufacturer, I want to make a new headset right now. Yeah. Right? Like I'm working with some Chinese OEM together or something, and I want to make this new headset. Of course, if Android is coming out with this operating system, I would put it there because I don't have any other option. I cannot use the Apple operating system, right? I could not use the Meta operating system, right? So I would put the Android XR operating system there, and therefore it would get lots of traction, just like the phones. The headsets can become cheaper, and Android XR would get a lot of traction. Now, with that move, that headset maker in China has suddenly two options. They have the option to put Android XR, or they could put the Meta operating system, Horizon OS. And right now, they might even, I think for sure, they would prefer Horizon because it has so many amazing apps and people love it.
Yeah, if you already have a bigger ecosystem, that you can get all the games and you can get all the hand tracking and all the research and development Meta's done. Question is how much, right? Is how much is and we're probably never going to find this out. Is the development to get that Meta Horizons operating system, to get all that technology versus what Android's going to offer. I mean, Android is going to be, or Google, it's nowhere going to be as good quality. There's no way. They haven't been developing it for years like Meta. But is it going to be cheap enough that, we'll just go with the cheaper option? I don't know. And that's going to be interesting to see.
It is. It is so interesting. You know, like now we slowly start to see how the actual XR war is going to play out. You know, like everything before was some kind of like pre-war gaming, if you could say like this.
And you know what it reminds me of?
What?
VR is dead. Well, now we've
No.
got all the big tech companies, Apple, Google, and Meta, fighting over the market. Like,
Exactly.
that's the greatest anti-VR is dead ever, right?
Exactly. It's not dead at all. We haven't even started yet. That's the point, you know? Like, we guys, like all the nerds, all the people who are watching this right now live, you are all nerds.
Yep.
You know?
Welcome.
We are all the same. That's why I love this community so much. And we are so early. We are so early in this. It's just like if we invested in Bitcoin when it was like $50. So early we are.
I wish. Wish I was early to that.
Yeah, we are so early in this whole thing, and it's great that we are sticking in with it. Right? Sometimes it's frustrating, but it's still fun overall. And now it is really starting, really, with the Apple getting into the market. It is now getting into the mainstream. Now Android is going to come in a couple of weeks. They're going to announce their thing. It's going to be exciting. And then we really see where the war is happening. It is going to be Android XR versus Horizon OS versus Apple. That's what I see right now. And I don't know yet about Pico. What are they going to do? Are they going to adopt Android XR, or are they going to stick with their own operating system? Right now, it seems more that they're going to stick to Pico, to their own thing. That's what I guess. Looking at some posts that Leland Hedges, for example, the Europe manager, did on LinkedIn, where he said like, oh, it doesn't have to be just like 3 parties fighting against each other. There can be more. It can be a wider ecosystem. So I believe that Pico is sticking to their own guns. Yeah, so who knows? They might also be a factor, not in the States, unfortunately, but in other parts of the world. Yeah, so the factions are getting together now. It's going to be exciting to see how that plays out. And for Meta, I truly think it's exciting to see that amazing operating system and those many games on other headsets. Just think about it. Think about the PImax Crystal with its standalone. If it had the Meta Store, it would be such a game changer.
Yeah.
Right?
There's so many standalone Quest games. I wish I could play on PC VR. Yeah, or at least have Quest level capabilities and things like that. And I don't understand enough to know whether or not that makes this a possibility. But I like that it opens it up, maybe.
Yeah.
And someone's talking about Valve Index too. I mean, man, imagine if that bomb drops. Or I don't know if this is going to make it not happen now. Maybe Valve's going. This is total fun speculation, right? Maybe Valve's going to be like, maybe we need to get off our butts and make this Index 2 happen, because otherwise nobody's going to go to Steam VR for our stuff anymore. I don't know. It's fun to speculate, right?
Absolutely. So yeah, no, VR is not dead at all. It's just starting out, and so I'm happy to be in this, and I still enjoy that. So the one question I'm thinking about, and I would like to discuss with you, is that with headsets like Asus coming out, and the Quest also still being there, isn't it hard for these third parties to compete against the subsidized Quest? So Quest is just cheaper, right? It's just like, wow, it's just this $500 headset. Asus cannot do that, right?
Yeah.
So how can they compete? Is it a viable? Is it going to be a viable business for companies like Asus to work on a headset that they will not be able to subsidize and probably sell for $1,500?
Yeah, they're hopefully not 4,500, but I think someone else in the chat said like $2,000, and no. I mean, you remember Razer came out with their head strap for the Quest 2, I think 2 it was.
Yeah,
right.
I have it,
and it was completely non-functional. It just kind of looked cool, and it's Razer branded, right?
It is expensive. It was expensive.
Right. So some people will pay just because it's for SUSE Republic of Gamers. Okay. Some people will pay just because it's Microsoft Xbox. I don't think it's going to be a lot, but I think there'll be some. you can't rely on that. I don't think that's enough of marketing. I've got to wonder if there's going to be like they've got to make it up on software. I don't know how they would do it if like they could somehow get a cut of Quest Store games. I'm really throwing this out there. I don't know. Quest Store games that are tagged to an Asus device, or I don't know how they do it hardware wise, or like you said, it's going to be ridiculously expensive. Unless people just want to pay for it. Maybe they'll come out with better FOV or DisplayPort connection, like you said.
Yeah, that would be great.
If they offered something substantive, right? Something that really mattered performance-wise.
Yeah.
But it's not as much as a Quest or as a Crystal. That's a tight space.
It really is. It really is. It would probably help if the hardware manufacturer like Asus, if they could get a cut from the 30% that Meta is owning from the store.
That's what I was wondering.
That's what I would do if I was the manager.
That's what, for sure.
I need to.
How do you figure it out though? Because like you have to have, I guess, even an Asus store into the Quest store.
No, they will know which headset is accessing the store. Just like they will know. That's no problem.
Then that could work.
Yeah.
And then that's it's not as big of a sticker shock on the price of the headset, so that could work.
Interesting.
Kind of a related topic, and it's not a gaming thing per se, but the Lenovo headset, right?
Right.
So kind of like with Apple is more productivity, Lenovo more education. I think that could grow the field. There is a lot of. It's not something I would buy, but I've worked in. I work in training, in corporate training. I'll just say that, and it's cool to see. I've seen other brands and other companies use VR headsets in a lot of training, and the more people see it in work, the more it's like, oh, this is an acceptable thing, and that also grows VR. So a little side potential growth there too.
Okay, got it. So let's say the Asus ROG headset, first of all, it's a standalone headset, of course, right? But you could dream that it also has this DisplayPort connection like the original Crystal or the Pico Neo 3 Link has. So if it had that, what do you think would be a price that would be amazing for us, but also allow Asus to earn enough money?
That is a tough question.
Yeah.
Because the biggest problem is I don't know what it costs to do all that, right?
Right.
So cost versus profitability. All I can think of is terms of where the market is.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about this.
And Crystal Light makes that really tough now.
I know. You're right. Well, the Crystal is destroying the prices. The PImax Crystal is destroying the prices. It's crazy.
If you've got to fit between the Quest 3 and $699, you don't have a lot of choice when you can sell that.
Oh my God, the Crystal is priced at such an amazing price point. I'm excited about it still.
A native DisplayPort headset for $699.
Yeah.
The advantage is you get access to the Quest store, so maybe you could charge the same, maybe. But you're not getting the same resolution and all the other benefits of the light. So
but you have to input. You have to pay the battery. You have to pay the XR2 Gen 2. Right. It's more expensive.
Right.
No.
It's a tough sell. That's why I'm thinking it's more likely going to be with Asus is going to be like skins and cooler colors and RGB and stuff that really doesn't matter. And people will pay more for that. And it's already, maybe we'll get, great elite straps with great headphones. And it's just going to be that kind of situation at like Crystal price. So Crystal Light price is $700. That's the only way I can imagine they do it. But I don't know. We need Brad on here, someone who knows the more of the industry pricing, I guess.
I think if they really would cater to us PC VR players with a DisplayPort cable, they could ask for more because it's just so niche. It's just like so niche that people like us would be willing to pay more. And then I don't think it could be like a $600 device like here. Big Banger that says $600 tops. In that case, it would be more like a $999 thing, I believe, or even more, $1,199. If they really give us this high-end spec device, they can do both. But the question is, would Asus, Republic of Gamers, actually give us the DisplayPort? Probably not. Really, probably not. It is too niche. They want to give us that price point of $699 with a Quest, which is actually like a wireless standalone headset, which has a cool design, probably different kind of like controllers, like differently designed, like with a strap here. You know, I don't think they would actually do that thing and give us that DisplayPort headset. What do you think?
The only reason I think the case that might make a case for that is, and I haven't tried it, I've only tried a Pico 3 very briefly for like 30 minutes, is, correct me if I'm wrong, is it the Pico 3 or the Pico 4, because we don't sell it here in the US, has a DisplayPort? Is it one or the other?
Pico Neo 3 Link.
Okay. So they managed to make that affordable, right?
Yeah. That was affordable, yeah. That was good priced.
So maybe they could make a Quest 3 with a DisplayPort, and then just some, better controller grip and everything like that. And I think there is a market for that, because one thing I do hear people chatting about all the time is, I've got a Wi-Fi 5 router and it doesn't work well. I've got the USB-C cable and I worry about breaking it, or it's compression, or there are people who don't want to make the full jump to really high-end headsets, but they want to get more out of their Quest 3. And I think that might be, if they just do DisplayPort for performance, maybe.
You're so right. Honestly, they just need to take the Quest 3 blueprint that Meta is going to give them and just do the DisplayPort, put it inside, and you and me, we're going to be excited about it. Damn, you're right. Even if the Quest 3 had a DisplayPort, it would be nearly perfect.
Yeah.
Right?
It would be, it'd be really hard to argue against. Someone, they could do, Big Bangers is again saying resolution could be better. All those things, though, is substantial redesigning. That's like redesigning the headset almost. So I think that's probably too expensive. But DisplayPort, that'd be a big deal, and it's a reasonable cost of investment, I think.
That makes sense. Unfortunately, though, we have heard that those headsets are years away. It's not that the Asus ROG headset is going to drop in 2024, right? That's what Zuckerberg said later. Like after he told us about this move. He said, like, guys, relax. Those headsets are years away. So it's not something that's going to happen in this year or next. So we can enjoy our PImax Crystal Lite with that beautiful DisplayPort, and just think about these other headsets for later.
Well, that's good to know, because I didn't know that detail. That's a big one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I'm honestly very happy right now with what we have and with what we're getting, right? The Quest 3 is so good. The Crystal is great. The wireless soon. Crystal Lite is coming out. So yeah, it is a good time to be alive.
100%.
Right? We're getting closer to the 2 hours mark, but I still want to chat a bit about the Apple Vision Pro. I flew to San Francisco to buy one. I'm crazy, But you also tried it out now. You tried it at an Apple store, and how was it? How did you feel about it?
I thought it was good. I didn't think, having a Crystal, I was like, this isn't better than my Crystal for half the price. But then again, there's a PC connected. And granted, I'm looking at it mainly as a gamer, which obviously Apple's not.
Exactly. Totally not.
The only reason I would spend that kind of money if it was like a mind-blowing VR gaming headset. And I know you can do it, but I'm not going to fool with that for $30 or $100.
That's the point.
Crystal, I'll do it. A Crystal, I'll do it to get all my crazy B-haptics and cat treadmill and all that stuff working. But it's really intimidating doing it with Apple. But here's my thoughts. So I go to the experience. They had me sitting in a stool. The guy says, hey, what's your background? I tell him, and he's like, okay, you tell me what you want to try. And that was cool that the guy was that helpful. And he's like, all right. So first thing, the visuals are great. After a while, I did notice it being front heavy, but hey, we're all used to that in modifying our headsets.
Yeah, you can modify it. Yeah.
The biggest thing, and I kind of this was going to be the case, the biggest disappointment to me, and some of my friends have disagreed with me on this, is I think they call it the immersive videos, the 3D videos, which was the thing I was most hopeful for.
Okay.
Is it's not 6 degrees of freedom, right?
All right.
So you get that,
Yes.
you get a nice wide panoramic video or image,
and it looks good.
It looks good until you move, and then
right.
you get kind of this weird. The screen's moving and you're not. And I was like, oof. For me, being an immersion person, I don't like.
You want to walk in that video.
Yeah. Like
I've seen something like this. It's great.
Yeah. I actually enjoyed the 360 photos more.
Wow.
Or you can now have on, especially since we got the update to the YouTube app on the Quest 3, you can get 360 video in the Quest 3 YouTube app. And it's now 8K. There's 1 or 2 cameras out there stretched to 360. So anyways, theoretically 360 video will be cool in something like the Quest 3. They advertise not that Netflix has an app yet, but the Disney Plus app or those kinds of at-home viewing experiences. I think that could be, there's a good case for that, but not with the Apple Vision Pro at $3,500. My kind of quicker take is if they drop that external screen, right, which is cool, but if they could drop the price with the external screen and whatever else, and it's more affordable, you can sit on your couch and watch your streaming apps at a more affordable price. I don't know what that's going to be. That's a use case. It's more like your cell phone, things like that. The games, not with hand tracking, not without Apple paying a ton of money for people to want to get into gaming, which they don't want to do. So, not for me.
Got it. Yeah, I totally get it. It is too expensive right now. It is still too bulky. But what it can do, like the things that I'm doing with it, it does them well. Like it is the most amazing OLED display that I can bring anywhere. And I was using it actually on that flight from Taiwan back to Germany, and it was just mind-blowing. It's just so good. And watching a 3D movie in Disney Plus, right, having like easy access to that 3D content, wow. And I'm telling you, if this device is getting cheaper, like in the $1,000 to $1,500 range, smaller, like that X-Real or VRCade form factor, normal screens are dead.
That would be cool.
Normal screens are going to be dead. So the Apple Vision Pro, as I see it right now, it is the future that you can get a taste of right now for an expensive price, and it's still a bit too bulky form factor, but this is going to rule. This is truly the beginning of our futures, and it's going to, put all these physical normal screens to rest. So it is just the first generation,
That I agree with you on the potential. Absolutely. And Apple's known for that, right? They made the touchscreen cell phone, right? The big thing. They made the iPod.
Yeah.
Such a big thing. And I have been the person to travel with my Quest 2 and Quest 3 on an airplane, and people, hey, look at that guy. And I can hear them while they're going by, and I'm watching on Netflix, and I'm like, I don't care. I don't have to see
Look
you.
at that nerd, yeah.
I can enjoy my movie and not feel like I'm crammed in a tin can. But if we get that smaller form factor, I'd love to try the Roku kind of thing on a plane.
Yeah, it's cool.
Same kind of idea. That's where I think the small form factor matters. When I'm playing VR at home in a game, I don't care. But on a plane or on my couch to watch a movie or something like that, you drop the big glass external screen on the Apple Vision Pro, you make it lighter, less expensive in a couple generations.
It's going to happen.
I could see it becoming
you will have it.
Regular desktop screen replacement.
You will have it. Probably going to have the Android XR version, right? Because it's like half the price and does the same. It's going to be exciting. Our screens are going to go away. It is like a huge paradigm shift, and this is the future now. I'm still excited about it. And you know what's also interesting? I thought I was a bit self-aware before I was going on the flight, and I was thinking like, is it going to be strange to wear it? Will people look strangely at me? But when I was wearing it, I didn't have that feeling at all. And I took some selfies of myself and to check out how I look like. And I was looking like some guy with some kind of mask on for sleeping or what. It was really not so bad.
It is a lot smaller.
Yeah.
And it's Apple, so it's everyone's like,
yeah,
what's that?
Yeah.
Instead of what's this weirdo doing?
No, exactly. It looked good. So they have nailed it, actually, I think, with the design for even though, of course, it's still too big and stuff. But for a first generation headset, wow, it is great. They have done a great job, and the price will come down. It has to come down. Obviously, there's going to be cheaper competition, and I'm excited for our spatial future.
Yeah, I'm excited for the future. Not buying it $300, $100, but I am excited for in a year or two.
Of course, the price must come down.
The Apple Vision non-Pro. I'll be excited.
Yes, it's going to happen. It's going to take some more years for the price to come down, but it will come down. And until then, the Samsung headset that we're going to see probably very soon, it's not going to cost $3,500. So yes, competition is going to come in. Prices will go down. We'll all be happy and enjoy our spatial future, which starts now.
Yeah. It's a great thing.
And I think that's a good ending for today's podcast. Ender, thank you so much for being here. I loved that. I hope we can talk more. So if you don't have anything against it, I would love to invite you more often to the show.
I would love to be back on. Thank you so much for having me. It's been so much fun discussing it, and I can go as nerdy as I want with VR, and people like it. So
exactly.
Yeah,
that's why I love this channel as well. You know, I can be my true, honest self, and people celebrate it.
Absolutely.
So I would again like to point our watchers and our viewers and our listeners to your YouTube channel. So if you want more of that nerding out, go to Ender's VRCade. You're gonna get much more of that. So I'm going to put the link down into the show notes. So go and check out Ender. He's an amazing guy and truly has a cool channel. Not cruel channel. A cool channel. So please do it. And all of you who are watching right now, give it a thumb up if you are excited that the Next Dimension podcast is finally back after what felt like an eternity. So go crazy in the comment section. Do let YouTube know that you love this podcast and just send me a signal. Sebastian, thank you for bringing this podcast back. Thank you for sacrificing your Saturdays for this. Do it more often. Bring this to me at least on a bi-monthly basis. So go crazy in the comment section, please, to let me know about that. And do it.
The least you can do is smash that like button.
Yeah, it's at least right now. Do we have 200 likes? No. So smash that right now. Go crazy. If you like this show, where we simply geek out, where we nerd out, where we give you what you really want to hear. I think there's not many like YouTubers really talking about this PCVR niche within the niche, right? Like, I mean, there's so many people who are going to tell you about the update number 65 of the Meta Quest, and that's great. You know, I'm not talking down on them. But it's just like there's a great option, but there's not so many people who will nerd out about the PImax, right?
Yeah, it's great to hear about more than just the newest Quest update and the newest Quest news, which is great, like you said. But
exactly, it's good.
Let's talk about everything. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so let's nerd out on that PImax Frontier show. So great. Thanks for watching. Andrew, thanks for being here. And all of you out there who love that show, give it a 5-star review on iTunes. So get out your iPhone, your iPad, and your Vision Pro, the podcast app, open it, find us, and give us a 5-star review. That would be very cool. That is everything that we have right now. And you know what? We're looking forward to see you in the next episode. Until then, bye-bye. All right, we are still live, Ender. You know, that's the little cool down. So, I loved it. How did you like it?
It's so great to be able to talk PC VR in particular
Right.
and VR in particular. And like I said, instead of trying to explain it to friends, and I've seen those commercials from the MetaQuest,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and what is that? And you bring over a friend, and you teach it to them, and that's all fun and everything, but
yeah.
can't go off in the weeds like we do with a lot of the stuff we talk about
Exactly.
here, and OLED screens and QLED and all
Perfect.
that.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. It's so good to geek out and to have an audience here who are watching it and loving it because they're just like us. And it's so fun to talk with you, Andrew, with you, especially because we are just on that really on the same level. So I totally enjoyed having you on the show. And I
Yeah,
would love to have you again.
I would love to be back on, and like you were talking about squadrons and it being May the 4th, and I had some friends say we should play
It's we're
the people together, and now
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, we're talking about the whole show. I've got to make it happen tonight. Yeah, I've got
Yeah.
to maybe stream it. Yeah.
Exactly. So it was so good, perfect. And for the people out there, great to see all these people that have been here also before to be back. So thanks for tuning in, and again, please do give us this encouragement in the comment section that you like this show and that you want to see it back on a regular basis. Please do it. I also love to see some nice comments sometimes, right? So, yeah, I would be glad about it. Good. That is everything that we have for today. Thanks for watching the stream. And yeah, see you in the next one. Until then, bye-bye.